Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of Summerville, South Carolina, where we bring you the latest news and guests and people who make our town special. And today, finally, I am able to bring Amy Evans, our Director of Parks and Rec, here on the podcast. How are you doing today, Amy?
Great. We're so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. Our Parks and Recs is talked about highly, and it's a huge aspect of our town. From just the recreation part of it, staying fit and going out and having fun and building relationships, but just the beauty of our town as well, right? But this episode is special because we're going to do a 2023 recap because I don't know if you know, Parks and Rec did a lot in 2023. And so I think it's only fitting to bring Amy onto the podcast and talk a little bit about, 2023. But before we dig into 2023, can you just tell me and the community a little bit more about yourself and what led you to the town of Summerville?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from the Lowcountry. I grew up here.
Okay.
I started working for Charleston County Parks in high school. At that time, I thought I was going to own my own small business.
Entrepreneur.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But I started working for Charleston County and just fell in love with Parks and Recreation. I ended up working there 16 years full time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then the opportunity presented itself for me to come over to Summerville. It was a really good opportunity. And I can't believe it, but I've been here almost 4 years. Wow. It just has flown by. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah. And I bet those 16 years in Charleston County, because Charleston County is a big area, and obviously you were there when it started really growing, and I don't even know how many years ago that was now at this point, but what was it like working in Charleston County when that growth really started to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed working there. Nothing but wonderful things to say and to see them. They're kind of like the hallmark of park systems in this area for sure, but even across the nation. So just grateful for the time that I was able to spend there and work with them and learn from them, and happy to bring some of that to Summerville.
Heck yeah, we're happy you brought it here too, and your impact has already been felt. Now let's dig into it a little bit, right?
Sounds great.
So, we'll start with some of the major developments that happened here in 2023. What are some of the big things that happened in 2023 when it comes to developments of our parks and recreation?
Well, one of the biggest things I think that happened this year was probably the development of our Summerville Parks Foundation.
Yeah.
So that's a nonprofit that was established really to support parks and recreation in Summerville. It's been a desire of mine for several years to have an organization that would, support our parks and recreation here. We were able to be incorporated in January of this year.
Oh, wow.
And then in February, we got our 501c3.
Okay.
And that board just hit the ground running. There's 6 members of the board.
Okay.
So there's no staff. They're all volunteers from the community, and they have been so instrumental in getting that organization established, created, and just working smoothly.
Yeah.
So very excited. They've been instrumental in several projects this year, and I'm sure those are a couple of the projects that we'll talk about on this podcast.
Yeah,
sure.
And I know I have marked here is the Shepherd Park extension. Do you want to talk a little bit about that development and why that was so important for our town?
Yes, sure. So Shepherd Park, it is a gem of a park. A lot of people will refer to it as the Hippo Park because of the bronze sculpture that's in the pond. And it's a really cute park. But that park is just at 3 acres. It's when the town did a flood study, they realized that they needed a detention pond. So they acquired the 3.5 acres across the street from that pond. Mm-hmm. That pond is about 2 acres, and it can hold, I think, 4 million to some odd gallons of water. It's fairly large. So when the stormwater finished building that pond, they turned it over to Parks to be an extension of Shepherd Park.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We have been very busy over there.
Wow.
With landscaping, sod, irrigation, all of those things. And then March of 2023, we installed a parking area along Shepherd Avenue, which kind of wrapped up the first kind of phase of that park.
Wow. And so the more parking, obviously, the community is going to love to make it easier and more accessible. So that's amazing. And I've been to Shepherd Park a few times, and it really is a unique area over there. I love it. I love it. Now, one of the things that I definitely have used since in 2023, since I started in my role, is the tennis courts at Doty. And I know those were recently resurfaced. When did that project go down?
So those courts were resurfaced in February.
Okay.
Tennis is a very active community in Summerville,
Yes.
as is pickleball.
Yes. And we'll get into pickleball. Don't worry.
Yes. Doty is where we have all of our tennis leagues, our tournaments, a lot of our lessons. So it is a very active site.
Now, for any of our community members that want to get involved in tennis, where can they learn more? Whether it's leagues or just wanting to play, or even just lessons to learn how to play tennis.
Yeah, I mean, our website is the best place to go to for information for anything Parks and Recreation, whether that be tennis or other sports in general. There you'll find information on who to contact, how to contact us, and different programs and opportunities we have.
Awesome. And we'll go make sure we'll link the website in the bio of this episode. So feel free to go check it out. It is a new designed website too. So that's exciting. And it should be easy to find that information, but we'll have it linked in the bio. Now, you brought up pickleball. And can you talk a little bit before we dig into the what the town has done to really jump on that pickleball train? Why is pickleball growing so fast, and how popular is it here in Summerville from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it is growing rapidly across the country, but especially here in Summerville. We offer pickleball lessons. Those are always some of our first programs to fill up. I think everybody enjoys it because there's a social aspect to it where there's just so much camaraderie. It's a fast-moving game, so you're not sitting for a long time waiting to play. But it's also accessible. Young people can play it, old people can play it, all ages can play it.
And that's so cool. And the courts are always filled with people in the community playing. And from your opinion, is it more like tennis or is it more like ping pong?
It's a mix. I don't know that which one I would say it would lean more towards.
Yeah.
It's definitely a blend.
Yeah, and I've been trying to figure it out, right? I've only played once, so forgive me. But I'm planning to work with y'all and get some training because I feel like I need it.
Just beware, because once you start, it tends to suck you in.
Yeah,
completely.
I know. Tennis did that for me. I started my home, my neighborhood has like tennis courts there, and when I moved there, I was like, I'll never play tennis. And I went out there once with my buddies, and I was stuck on it. And then they all moved to pickleball, and I've been busy, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll just start playing some pickleball. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Speaking of pickleball, Saul Alexander had some enhancements in 2023, and that includes pickleball. Can you dig into that a little bit more? Yes,
that was a really unique project for us. It was completed out of the generosity of one family in our community, which is almost unheard of.
Wow.
So, they were such a joy to work with, and just have a heart for Summerville and wanted to provide a public space for everyone. I think one of the things that we don't often talk about with Parks and Recreation is their benefit to mental health.
Yes.
And that park, I think, is just a shining example. It's a place where those people, where they feel like they belong. They're meeting old friends, they're making new friends, and just those benefits there to that community. But the Summerville Parks Foundation was very instrumental in that project. There's a lot, even when you have contracted jobs like that, there's a lot that goes into it before, after. Parks and Recreation, we installed the shade canopy that was out there.
Yes.
A lot of the landscaping, pouring new concrete.
It looks amazing.
Yes.
It really does look amazing out there. And if you haven't been out there, give it a check. Go check it out. It's beautiful, and I think it really does enhance the park as a whole. And the pickleball people are definitely happy with it too. And because those courts are beautiful, and they're really nice.
It is busy morning, noon, and night.
Okay, so
Every
there
day.
you go. Every day,
Every day.
Morning, noon, night. So we talked a little bit about some of the development enhancements that happened in the town, but I want to talk a little bit more about the upgrades and the renovations that happened. The one that immediately comes to my mind is Miracle League, the resurfacing of that. Can you jump a little bit on when that happened and what it took to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean that's a natural tie from the pickleball court. So Saul Alexander, that park over the last 2 years, from one end to the other, has been completely renovated, and the Miracle League field was kind of the last piece. That was completed about the middle of the year. That was in partnership with the Summerville Miracle League and our state legislators. And that field, it's free, it's open to the public. A lot of people think they can't use it just because it's it's the Miracle League, but when they're not using it, it's open, and it's a great amenity to the public.
It's so cool because of the color of the field, too.
Yeah.
It does look really cool. For anyone who's not familiar, can you talk a little bit about what the Miracle League is and who they are?
Yeah. So the Summerville Miracle League, they're a very active group in Summerville. They're a nonprofit. They offer athletics to children, adults alike in our community with special needs. They usually play out there 2 seasons a year. They're always looking for volunteers. So if anybody's interested and wants to come out and join them, it's a fabulous time. And they usually play on the weekends.
That's amazing. I know I watched one game. We had students for, I think it was the Charleston Southern baseball team.
Sure,
or
yes.
softball team. I think there was a partnership. That was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
that's a really cool scene, and it's just really cool how the community gets together and plays, baseball or softball or anything that could be played on those fields.
That's right.
And so it's amazing. Now I know outside of the Miracle League and that area, there's also our boaters out there, right? Our people who like to go in the park and go on the river and go kayaking. I know I'm one of them. And we added some improvements at the boat landing. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yes, of course. Jessen is a really special place for Summerville. One of the few places we have access to water. So
Yes.
It is a very active boat ramp. There is a kayak launch, boardwalks, great bird watching if you're like that. Just lots of things to do. Throughout this year, there was quite a bit of activity there. We had an Eagle Scout that built us a life jacket loaner station.
That's awesome.
Yes, he donated, I think it was like 13 boxes of life jackets. So we've got those stored up and can replenish as needed. Resurfaced that parking lot, but I think the most notable improvement was the addition of the restroom. Mm-hmm. Now the restroom, it did take us, we waited over a year for that restroom, but it was so worth the wait. And it's, as far as restrooms go, it's a great amenity.
Yeah.
Just where it was, we ordered it kind of the tail end of COVID when there were supply issues.
Yeah.
But really excited to be able to have that there for the public.
That's amazing. And it's so beautiful out there, especially like when you walk
Yes.
those trails and that little the walking trail that goes out near the water. It's always so beautiful, and I swear you could see so many different birds out there. If you're a bird watcher,
Yes.
definitely go out to the boat landing because it's amazing what you could see. It's very nature oriented, and I think the bathrooms were a huge improvement for that area. I think the community is really excited about that. And props to Eagle Scout. Got to give a little shout out there. I'm an Eagle Scout myself, so a little shout out to the Scouts and the Eagle Scout. So thank you for your time and enhancing our community. And speaking more about improvements to some of our parks, right? Another thing that happened in 2023 that I actually noticed firsthand was the rebuild of some bridges in our parks. I know we have the Oak Brook Trail, right? And then the other one was the Azalea, the gazebos, the
Yes.
gazebos. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Oak Brook Trails, if you've not been out there, it's kind of right in the middle of the hustle bustle with Summerville Medical, all those offices over there. But you step onto those trails and you're in the deep woods. It feels that way. So it's a really special place. But there are boardwalks throughout that go through those wetlands. And we probably spent 3 weeks going in there and replacing, tearing out the old, and built almost 100 foot or a little over 100 foot of new boardwalks in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's more than anyone would realize.
Yeah, wow.
So, but it turned out beautifully. And then Azalea, the gazebo, one of the larger gazebos, there's two. They're almost iconic landmarks in Summerville. I feel like if you look at old pictures of Summerville or the park, it's always of the gazebos.
Yes.
So we were very mindful of that. We did make a few design modifications. We used recycled lumber for the base. We wanted to make sure that what we built was sustainable or would be here for the future. But one of them was just in such deterioration that we just took it down to the ground, started completely over, and rebuilt that. I think the staff wrapped that up in October, but it's beautiful. It's ready for weddings. So if you want to come out,
Yes, yes.
small events, it's there.
Beautiful place to have a wedding.
Yes.
I love it in there. I always take walks there. And it's I don't know, the ducks are always there in the pond there. It's always such a vibe. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just a vibe there. It's beautiful.
The other thing that's always at Azalea that I enjoy are the hawks.
Yes.
You can't go over there without seeing the hawks
Yes.
and listening to them.
Yes. And actually the other day I was walking there on my lunch because it's not far from here, and I saw an owl. Over there, and I was like, you don't ever really get to see an owl, and so that was a really cool moment. So I guess you could see anything in our areas here, but switching gears a little bit, we just opened Fire Station 6, and I know y'all were involved in the landscaping of that station. Can you talk a little bit about that project and how long that took and the outcome of it?
Yeah. So Parks and Recreation does pick up a lot of special projects in town, outside of Parks and Recreation, and that fire station is a perfect example of one of those. So my staff did design and install the irrigation over there. I think we planted over 300 of the little ground cover plants. So it was quite a lot.
Wow.
When we do projects like that, it's usually all hands on deck. I think we were out there maybe 2 weeks to get that project finished.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the thing, and we're not even done, but this is all in 2023. And
That's right.
So the staff of Parks and Rec and under Amy's lead, I mean, they're working day in and day out tirelessly to get this stuff and to enhance our community. And even that it might not seem like a lot of work, but that's a lot of work. 2 weeks of planting and building up the landscape, and it looks beautiful over there. And the fire station looks amazing. So good job to you and your team on that. And the other one that actually we just had a ribbon cutting for, and I used to pronounce it wrong, but now I got it. It's Hugie Playground.
You got it right.
Yes, and I learned the hard way. But that was just renovated, and it looks amazing. So could we talk a little bit about that renovation and what was changed, what was kept, and that whole the whole playground?
Yeah, so Hugie was a really fun project. So it originally started, it was a partnership between the Summerville Parks Foundation, Leadership Dorchester, and the town of Summerville.
Okay.
And then a few weeks in, we threw in the Summerville Evening Rotary. So we had lots of hands in. It was truly a community project. I had been a part of the 2022 Leadership Dorchester class. So it was fun for me to still kind of stay connected to the program, just in a very different capacity. Yeah. But Parks, we came in, we tore out all the old play equipment, you prepped for the new site. We had to dig a pit that was 12 inches deep for the whole youth zone. It was quite an experience. Leadership Dorchester came in, they owned, they regraded the final site, did the landscaping, added gutters, and repainted the existing pavilion that stayed, and then replaced the fence that was around that needed to be done. Yeah. So they did a lot of that work. And then Summerville Evening Rotary came in and they installed a rain garden behind the shelter with a lot of native plants, because that's one amazing. Of the things we had heard from the community is they wanted to see some native plantings. So we did that, and that's capturing all the rain that's coming off the gutter. The gutters.
I love that. And you talked about heard from the community. What are some things that you do, like with all these projects and stuff? What are some things that you guys do to really, because you guys do a fantastic job to listening to the community and their wants and wishes, and there's just thoughts and opinions on different things that are happening. What's your approach to that as a leader for the Parks and Rec? What's your approach to getting community feedback?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly always appreciate when the community reaches out to me directly. My information's on the website, so I love hearing from people. A lot of times it's good and bad, stuff that they like or stuff that they don't, but we're always open to receiving that. When we start looking at these bigger projects, a lot of times we'll share information a lot on our social media. In the case of Hugie Playground, we had a community input meeting where we advertised it, came out and just, asked for feedback, thoughts, information, and we kind of took all of those and modified the plans. So a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and you guys do a really good job keeping the community up to date via your social medias and website, and we'll make sure we plug your social medias in in the bio, but also the town's social media does share a lot of your guys' posts, especially the ones with the community outreach events and community input meetings. And I love that. I'm a huge advocate of communication and hearing everyone's opinion. I guess that's a PIO thing, I guess, being a communicator. But I'm a huge advocate of that, and you guys definitely take it to the next level. So congratulations to you and your team for that. Let's move away from the blood, sweat, and tears of Parks and Rec a little bit, and just go more towards the tears and sweat. No, I'm just kidding. You guys put on a lot of incredible events throughout the year, and my first year here at the town is about to wrap up, and so I saw a full year of what y'all have done, and it's incredible. I haven't seen, in my experience, in my career, I haven't seen a Parks and Rec department, go to the level that you guys do and where I've been involved in. So what goes into y'all's events? And then also, what are some of the events that you guys put on throughout the year?
Sure. And just to clarify, those are tears of joy most of the time.
Yes, of course.
No, we do a lot of events. We have a small staff, but we try to offer a lot to the community because it just creates, I think events creates that sense of community and pride. And we want to make sure that we're offering those. But we offer small events. For us, small events are usually 500 to 1,000 people throughout the year. Concerts, jazz brunches, movies, breakfast with Santa, events like that. And then we have kind of our hallmark 3 big events that we do every year. So we've got the 4th of July. We've got our Touch a Truck event that's in the fall, usually at Gahagan. And then we have our Christmas tree lighting.
Which just happened.
That's right.
It was amazing.
So it's fresh on our minds. And there's no secret amongst my staff, but the tree lighting is my favorite event.
Yeah.
I love Christmas. So we try to go all out for that one. Try to change it every year, make it a little bit better. A little different to keep people excited about it. Some of the things we did this year, we had a snow machine out there off of Town Hall. I think it's the only time it snowed in Summerville this year.
Yeah.
Which was fabulous. And we borrowed Santa's sleigh.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yes, and every time I got on social media, I saw people's pictures with it, and it's just fun to be able to be a part of that and provide that to the community.
Yeah, and I remember walking around because I was getting content. And that line was packed, and people were excited. Yeah. Even the people in the back they didn't care.
Right.
They were excited to wait and take that picture because it's not every day you get to take a picture on a Santa sleigh. It's really cool, and I'm glad that he was able to let us use a sleigh for the day, or for the month. Because it's out there the whole month, right?
It's actually leaving. We're sending it back to North Pole tomorrow.
Okay.
Because he needs to get it ready and packed.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad we were able to work with him and get that figured out. But hopefully, he lets us borrow some things in the future from the North Pole.
That's right.
They got a lot of great stuff up there. But no, the Christmas tree lighting was a fantastic event. I thought it was a cold night. It was a cold night, but it was packed. There was people that they really came together in the community and enjoyed watching the lights come on and enjoyed all the food trucks, and we also had displays or businesses around the square. Can we talk a little bit more about the live displays? Because I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, those are definitely a highlight every year. The live windows, it just makes it feel like small town USA.
Yeah.
There's so much creativity that our business owners go through, to make their display, and they really are they're special. You don't see those everywhere.
Yeah.
Another thing that really jumps out at me about that event is always the performers that we have. So this year we had the Summerville Youth Orchestra and Junior Philharmonic. I hope I got that right. And also Dorchester District 2 Steel Band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, when you have those organizations or those groups come out and perform, it's wonderful. It's magical.
It is. And the kids, they really do enjoy, they get that sense of, they get excited for stuff like that. When you have so many people, it's a Christmas, event, and they get to enjoy performing, doing what they love in front of people who are just all enjoying and having a good time. There's just something special and magical about the holidays,
That's right.
It's always something magical. Now, outside of the Christmas tree, I know that's, this is right before Christmas recording this. But, you had the two other big events in the Touch a Truck and the 4th of July. Let's start with the 4th of July a little bit. What goes into that event, and what is the event? What goes down at the event, and usually how many people do you see at those events?
Like most of our events, it's very depending on the weather, what we can expect. But there is a lot of work that goes into all of them behind the scenes. 4th of July, we're shuttling people from downtown to Gehagen because we can't handle the capacity, the amount of people. But that event, we can easily see 10,000 plus people there at the park. A lot of people will watch the fireworks from other locations nearby. So I don't have a great, perfect number for that, but that is just a fun day. We've got vendors out on the track, all, selling stuff. People set up with their blankets out on the outfields, and it's a fun day as well.
It was, and I went there for the 4th of July this year. Getting content obviously, but I went with my family, and we set up blankets. It was nice. It was peaceful, and everyone was just so excited. The kids were excited. It's watching fireworks and watching kids get excited about the fireworks, and it's always just a fun sight. And that was my daughter's first time watching fireworks, and I don't think she was a big fan, but she was also a year and a half, so
they're a little loud.
Yeah, they're a little loud, but we had the big headphones on her like these, and that she still was like,
that's fair.
And then the last one you said was Touch a Truck.
Yes.
What goes into that event? What is it like? And why do you consider that one of your big three?
Yeah. So we lined the front field at Gehagen with trucks. I hate to make a list because I'll probably miss some people, but we get, stormwaters, excavators, we get streets equipment out there. We have fire department, we have police. We usually get a few from the county and EMS. We bring all of these out there, and the kids just love it. They climb over it. We learned the hard way to make sure to pull all the fuses for the horns. So we don't have to listen to those all night. But the kid, their faces just light up. There's jump castles out there. It's an opportunity for them just to climb all over those and, imagine what they could grow up and do one day.
Oh man, that's so cool. And all the kids love trucks. They love getting to sit in the fire truck, and it's a really cool event. And I'm excited to see that grow over the years, and all these events grow over the year, and watch them, like you said, with the Christmas tree lighting, you're always trying to do something new, something different. And I'm excited to see what you and your team come up with for 2024. Now, one event that recently happened as well, and you guys just took over, was the Sweet Tea Half Marathon. And I thought, I was out there. It was cold and rainy, but we had a tremendous turnout. And I thought it was a great event that was put on really well by you and your team. What went into that event, and why is putting on like a Sweet Tea Half Marathon so important for our community?
Yeah, it was our first year organizing, as you mentioned, and we appreciate you coming out despite the weather. We had just over 500 people register for that event, so very strong number. When I looked at the registrations, we had them; they were coming from Pennsylvania, Colorado, Florida, Vermont.
How cool.
I think there was even one from out of the country that I saw. So it was really neat to see where everyone was coming from. But I think that event is different. So we were really excited to be able to take it on. We did have some issues this year with the construction along the trail that had us sitting a little bit on the edge of our seats towards the end, but we were able to pull it off. The staff's already working on a new route for next year.
Nice.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be a very strong event in 2024. But we loved it. Just promoting health and wellness in our community. Getting people out there, the camaraderie that's already exists in that community as they're cheering each other on. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, and the running community is a very strong community. They're always so happy. So they really do come in numbers too, and
right.
They always are just so supportive. The one thing I took away from it is like, I stood at the finish line for the majority of the time, and you would see people, when they're at the end, they would run with their friends or their family and run with them through the finish line, or even strangers doing it for someone they met on the run. and they became friends in the half marathon. Like, that was really cool and really inspiring to see the community come together. And I always find it really cool when it comes to half marathons and 5Ks and 10Ks. They provide also the opportunity for people to see our town, right? And like you said, we had people come from all over to come participate in the event. And this might have been their first time in Summerville. And for them to run and see the beauty of our town through their marathon or half marathon, that's a unique way of doing it. And I'm really excited to watch that grow as well. And as your team has now taken it on, and watch it grow and turn into something that it already is, So that's really cool. And you talked about community. And one thing that you guys did this year was start a volunteer program. Can you talk a little bit more about the volunteer program? Because that also, we just got done talking about the half marathon. The volunteer program is very community oriented. It's to enhance the community, but to also get the community involved. So just tell our community, and then myself too, just a little bit more about the volunteer program, and then why and what led into starting the program.
Yeah, we well, actually, it started really from the community. So I had quite a few. Cool. Yeah, I had quite a few residents reach out to me and say, "Hey, we'd really like to be more involved. We love our parks. What can we do?" And we knew we needed to do something, and so we'd been talking about it for a little while. We finally were able to get it up off the ground this past November. We started with just a cleanup day in Azalea Park. And we were like, if we could just get 2 or 3 people out there so we can get the first one under our belt, we would be so happy. It would be successful in our opinion. I think we had 15 people show up.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And the Flower Town bed and breakfast down the street brought snacks for everyone.
Amazing.
So it was just great to have the support of the community, and it was so well received, but more than we had thought it would be. Yeah. So we did that, and then in December, we decided to tie it to Arbor Day. So ArborGen donated some loblolly pines for us. We had 25 volunteers come out, and that day we planted over 250 trees in parks, which was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It really is. And so we are so excited just to see what we're going to do in 2024. We don't even know every month yet, but it's going to be amazing. And if you miss those 2 opportunities, there's going to be more. We're going to do it once a Saturday every month.
Okay. So a monthly,
yes.
It's going to be a monthly thing on a Saturday one.
Yes.
So we'll make sure we let the community know when those are coming up. And I love that idea, the volunteer program that you guys started. When I first heard about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Right. That's awesome. But to hear the numbers, the community, like you were hoping just for 3, but 15 came out. That's so cool. That means that people are really interested, and that it says a lot about our community too.
It does,
because Summerville, and I say this every podcast, it's unique. The people here are unique. They care. It's family oriented. They care about the people around them, and they care about the community, enhancing the community. And so it's always fun to use those volunteer programs and watch those numbers and watch the people come in and support our community and support Parks and Rec and whoever you're partnered with. And
yes.
I have noted here you had a couple of collaborations with some organizations this year. Could we dig into that a little bit? We had Camp Rise Above and Adaptive Expeditions, different programs and camps that are offered. How did those collaborations work?
Yeah, we have. So this year we were actually very fortunate. We got our first paid programmer on our staff. So yeah, it's opened up some opportunities for us to offer some programming. But we even now still mostly rely on third-party contractors or outside organizations to offer a lot of our programs. But we, by partnering with these groups, we're able to offer a lot more diverse offerings than what we could do by ourselves. So we were very fortunate this year by partnering with those that you mentioned and a few others like MUSC. I think we offered like adult day camps. We offered adaptive pickleball, gardening. We did an audiology camp for youth, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just opens up a lot of doors. So we are always looking for wonderful people to partner with. I'll make a shameless plug for that.
Yes.
If anybody has something that they think would make a great program, please reach out to us. We want to be able to offer those to our community. Looking back at 2023, I think another one that stands out in my mind, mainly because I took the class, was with Clemson Cooperative Extension. We partnered with them. We offered a canning class, which was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was different. But photography, and then of course we've got just a myriad of programs that we offer routinely. We've got cheerleading, judo, karate, sweetgrass basket weaving. I mean, there's just so many. So there's a lot going on. It's constantly changing, so you have to stay kind of plugged in to kind of know, and so you don't miss anything.
Y'all are busy.
We are.
Y'all are
we
busy.
are.
And, and this, I went down this list a little bit, and I'll make this list kind of public for the community and the bio as well, so they can kind of see what we talked about and all of y'all's achievements in 2023. And a year sounds long, but with the amount that you've done in just this in 365 days in a year is incredible. So 2024, we talk, I'm excited to see what you guys are digging and working on, and trying to figure out for 2024. Give us a sneak peek. Is there anything that you can any nuggets you can give us?
So we're not planning on slowing down at all in 2024. I think the project I'm most excited about that's coming quickly over the horizon is the splash pad. So we are going to construct a splash pad at Doty Park. Very excited about that. It's going to be very walkable for many people in the community. Our summer campers are going to be able to enjoy that amenity. It'll be free to the public. So that's very exciting for us. We also, the Wassaw Playground is another project. We're going to completely renovate that playground.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
That'll be early summer of 2024.
Okay.
The Summerville Preserve, which is the 45 acres that the town owns adjacent to the Jessen boat landing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be going out to bid. Hopefully, we're just waiting on permits at this point, but building an additional fishing pier, boardwalks. I mean, breathtaking views over there as well. Parking. Yeah, it's going to be really special. I can't wait to be able to get the public access to that facility.
Oh, that's going to be so cool.
Yes.
Because, that's such a beautiful area, and to expand on what's already there, that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. So I'm going to dig in. I don't know how much she's going to give me. But with the extension of the boat landing, are you going to reroute the walkways a little bit? Because you would have to walk over the water, right?
No. So where the boardwalk is over currently at Justin, how it kind of goes out and over the water, we'll tie it in at the end there, and then the new boardwalk will kind of go along the edge of the river. Oh. So it'll be a little different. There'll be some areas cut out for swings, things. It'll be a really nice special place in Summerville. Yeah,
that's so cool. It kind of reminds me of what they have out in Shem Creek. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty that boardwalk that they have over the marsh over there. Yeah. We'll have our own little version here in Summerville of that, and that's so cool.
That's right.
And I'm sure that'll be. We just talked about our runners earlier. I think our runners will love that because a lot of people love to run the boardwalks. But 2024, you got some big projects ahead.
We do, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of other small things, but those are the big ones.
Yeah. And when it comes to y'all's events and even the smaller ones, are you looking to change those up too? I know it would be somewhat of a surprise, but are you looking to change those up too?
We are. We're working currently. We actually started earlier this week trying to figure out which events and how the calendar is going to fall. So I would say probably first of the year you could expect to see our event calendar come out.
Ooh, okay, that's coming up. All right. So make sure you give their social media a follow because you're going to miss out. But no, that's awesome. So I'm really excited. I think 2024 is going to be a huge hit for y'all, and probably 2025 and 2026. But we're just focused on 2024.
That's what we do.
Yeah, right. But no, awesome. Before we wrap the podcast up, I think I would be remiss not to just give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the people that work for you, your staff, and the people that put the time and effort into a lot of these events. How many people are on your staff, if you have a number? Because it's a big staff. You guys got a big staff here at the town. And then just kind of some of the different roles that you have in your staff, and why they're so important to the town.
Yes. So we are always, it's a moving target, the number of employees that we have. So because we do have full-time and part-time. So the number's always fluctuating, but we have 35 full-time employees. And then anywhere from 10 to 15 usually part-time employees, depending on the time of year and what we have going on.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, we've talked about a lot of programs, a lot of projects, all that, but all of it happens because of these guys. I mean, they're amazing. They are the hands that get the work done. They've told me I push pretty hard. They're like, you're pushing us pretty hard. I said, I know, but there's so much to do. But they always exceed my expectations, and they do an amazing job. They're thorough. They deeply care about this town and the experiences that they provide to the public. I think they keep that always on the front of their mind as they're working. And I'm so grateful for them, the team that we have here. They're a really good bunch.
They are, and I work with them a lot, and there's some incredible people in your team. And it really does come down to leadership, and you should give yourself a pat on the back for the leadership you're providing to not only your team, but to the town and to the community and to the Parks and Recs, because it's important. And, to dig on that, this is kind of a side comment. I wasn't even going to ask this, but I think I'd be remiss not to ask you. But
He's going off script.
I am going off script a little bit. When it comes to leadership, right? What are some qualities? Why is leadership so important, right? And what are some of the most important qualities, in your opinion, to being a strong and effective leader? Because in all honesty, you've shown, your leadership has shown to be strong, effective, and it works, and it's admirable. And so if anyone can get some nuggets from you who are listening to the podcast, I think that'd be great.
For me, I think I lead by example. I think that's important.
I love that.
I would never ask my staff to do something that I would not do. And we do a lot together as a team. So, when we work events, I make sure that I'm out there working with them. Sometimes they're like, would you please just go sit down? I'm like, no, I'm going to outwork you, because that's my goal today, is just to work harder than you.
Yeah.
And it just builds a sense of teamwork, that we're all in it together. We're all pulling towards the same goal. So definitely leading by example. The other thing is we truly are a family. My staff knows that I care about them. My door is always open. I encourage them, always to come in and talk to me about issues. If there's something or tools that they need, they know that I'm going to do my very best to get what they need to be able to do the job that I'm asking of them to do. So
that's important. That's important. And I work with you guys a lot as the PIO for the town, but watching you lead your team is admirable to me, and I know other people, and I can't even count how many times I've heard positive comments about you and your team and the Parks and Rec here in Summerville, even from outside of Summerville. So kudos to you for that. Another off-script question that I have to ask before we go our separate way is, have you watched Parks and Rec?
Yes.
I feel like I've always wanted to ask you that, but I had to hold it for this moment. So, do you like the show? Is it?
I do like the show.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's very accurate all the time, but there are times where we just have a day and we look at each other and we're like, we're in the show today.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that.
Yeah.
Just crazy things. But yes, I do like the show.
I've always wondered if you watched it, and because I love Parks and Rec, so it's a funny show. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. It's a really good show. But outside that, we went through a laundry list of accomplishments that happened in 2023. And is there anything that I missed from my list that you feel is necessary to bring up before we end this podcast?
I am sure for every one thing we talked about, my staff is saying, well, she didn't say these two things, because there was so much.
Yeah.
But no, I think we did a good job of highlighting the big things.
For sure. And I think in the bio, we'll make a list, and you guys can see just a little snapshot of what the Parks and Rec team has done in 2023. And I am, like I said earlier, I'm really excited to see what you guys are up to for 2024, because I know you guys are already working on it. And so I'm really excited to watch you guys continue to grow and thrive. But congratulations on a very successful 2023.
Thank you.
Hard work and well earned. So congratulations. And I appreciate you taking time to not only speak to me, but in the podcast form for the community, so they can kind of get a more personable approach rather than just reading it, off a page, but a more personal approach about some of the accomplishments that you guys have gone through.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Well, that's it for the episode. But yeah, in the bio, please follow the links. We'll have links to y'all's social media, anything that we talked about in the podcast, as always, will be in the bio. And if you guys want to get involved with Parks and Rec, please do not hesitate to reach out to them. They're very communicative. They'll listen. And even if you have a thought or opinion on something that is going on in the town, Parks and Rec related, I know their team is always willing to listen. So everything will be provided for you. But until next time, thank you so much, Amy, for taking the time to speak with me today.